What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be going in and double checking all the PPSh values because supposedly it had gotten a silent buff that just made it massively overpowered. JGod came out with this video yesterday, so I wanted to go in and confirm all of this as well as check the further damage drop-offs and get the full profile so I could get it up on TGD. You've been hearing about how busted this gun was just through Twitter and things recently. Everybody was talking about how good it was, and it had always been pretty good, so I kind of assumed people were just finally realizing that it was a pretty good gun and it had really good hip fire, so it was pretty good, but I was too busy to go in and test it. So obviously JGod went in and tested the first damage range, and he found that it was insanely overpowered and had been silent buffed, so I wanted to go in and double check everything. So I checked it in Caldera in both regular BR and Vanguard Royale just to make sure there was nothing funky going on there. I also tested it in Rebirth, and I also tested it in private matches, so I confirmed in every spot whether or not it was buffed, and we're going to go over that in this video. As always, if you like the content, consider dropping a like and a comment on the video to help me with the algorithm, and if you want to see more in-depth Call of Duty content, be sure to drop a sub. So like I said, I went in and tested this in every game mode that I could, including private matches and public matches, and it's the same everywhere. We've never seen something that was different in different types of matches, but because some people were reporting that this had already been reverted, I wanted to just double check everywhere. So I did that, and everything was the same, but it was still ridiculously broken everywhere. So these are the old damage values from before the update. We don't know when this happened. 34 head, 25 neck, 24 chest, 32 or 23 stomach, and then 20 to all extremities. And then the new values are 45 head, 45 neck, 33 chest, 33 stomach, 30 upper extremities, and 27 lower extremities. So if you look at the change there, that is an insane increase in damage. Insane increase in damage per second, and we're going to take that now and go look at how this compares on the TTK and DPS charts, and it's definitely a mistake. There's no chance this was meant to be added to the game like this. So just to put this in perspective, I just made a video about the fastest TTK SMG in the game, and that was the Type 100 with this build. I've added the new PPSh with pretty much the most popular build, so hollow point, the 8mm Nambu mags, and recoil booster, as well as that Type 100 to this chart. This is a DPS chart with combination shot locations, and you can see the combination DPS of the PPSh is almost 700 damage per second compared to what was the fastest TTK gun in the game at 530 damage per second. So this is 100% bugged. It has that DPS out to 8 meters with this build. Obviously you can build it differently to have more range, and on top of that, this PPSh is way easier to control, has way better hip fire than that Type 100. So this will get reverted very quickly because literally everyone's going to be running this gun because it is so overpowered, especially because it's a 2 XP weekend and you can level this up in just a few games. So if you want to be winning your up close fights, 100% go get the PPSh leveled, and I'll talk about some recommended builds as well. First build I'm going to talk about is going to be just a maximum hipfire build. This gun has ridiculously good hipfire because it has one of those barrels that just gives you insane hipfire on top of the other attachments. So we use the hipfire barrel, recoil booster for maximum TTK, cover foregrip. I like to use this because it also helps with your recoil, and even on a hipfire build you're going to have to ADS sometimes, so you don't want to have completely uncontrollable recoil, and this helps a little bit. It does hurt your ADS time, but a lot of the other attachments help with ADS time, so it's really not a big deal. I like, again, because of what I just said, where sometimes you need good recoil, you need to be able to hit somebody at 20 meters. You can't really hipfire at that distance. I like the 8mm mag just because it doesn't really affect your DPS or TTK negatively very much at all, and it increases your fire rate, which is always good for hipfire builds because the more shots you can put in that hipfire cone, the more shots are going to hit compared to something that shoots slower, where if you miss one of those bullets, it's much more penalizing. But this also gives you much better recoil control, which is again really important for an SMG, where occasionally you're going to run into somebody a little longer than you wanted to, and you'll still need to be able to shoot them with your SMG. Ammunition, incendiary, and hollow point are both great. If you want better hit reg, lengthened, but now they've nerfed lengthened, so it only does 10% bullet velocity. So really, I think it's between incendiary and hollow point. I kind of like hollow point for a couple different reasons. Right now, they nerfed incendiary, so it doesn't do as much damage. And hollow point doesn't make the bullets yellow. This is kind of a weird thing, but incendiary makes your bullets like yellow, which is super similar to the actual reticle on like the slate reflector or any of the other Vanguard optics. They're all yellow for some reason, and for me it just makes it kind of hard to like figure out where my reticle is and where my bullets should be going. So that's one of the like intangible benefits that I like about using hollow point over over Incendiary, and since Hollow Point does limb damage, extremities damage, it's really good to use with hipfire builds because you're not always going to be hitting chests with hipfire. You're just going to be shooting towards the target. Some of the bullets are going to hit chests, some are going to hit legs, etc. So it's really important to have extra limb damage. So I think for hipfire builds, that's probably the way to go. Remove stock for hipfire, movement speed, sprint to fire speed. All of those are super important, so no reason to not use that. Fabric grip is good for everything, basically. Accuracy doesn't exist in the game anymore. It doesn't do anything. That was for ADS spread, but aim down sight speed, sprint to fire time, and hip fire, those are all three things that we really want with this build, so this is a perfect attachment for this this setup. And then for perks, there's really like 3 good perks. For perk 1, steady gives you ADS firing move speed, so that's when you're ADS and you start firing, you'll kind of start moving a little bit faster, so that's good for an SMG. But this is hip fire build, so hopefully we're not going to be ADSing that often. Again, sometimes you'll have to, so it's still a positive perk, but same with tight grip. Tight grip really helps your recoil after the first, like, I don't know the exact amount of time, but it's like 7 shots or so with PPSh. So that's a good one for any time when you need to, you know, engage someone at 20 meters. And then again, the last would be fleet. Fleet helps with your weapon swap quickness. So basically that gives you amped for this weapon, swapping away from this weapon, not swapping to it. It's a question I get asked a lot. It's for swapping away from the weapon. And then it also gives you movement speed, which is just huge. So really, for this build, for hipfire, I think fleet is what I would personally go with. Perk 2, quick, no question, if you get the gun fully leveled. If you don't have the gun fully leveled, surplus does actually work. So definitely use surplus. All right, so for some reason, you can also build this gun to have virtually no recoil. So you can use it as a sniper support or even a versatile SMG. This is just, the gun's just busted right now. So with this build, this isn't built for like sniper support, so oil can suppressor, this helps with recoil, hurts your ADS a little bit, but doesn't hurt your damage range. Something that this gun already struggles with is damage range, so you don't really want to hurt that even more, especially in a sniper support build. Last barrel, this helps with bullet velocity, damage range, and gives you really good recoil. It hurts some of the other SMG traits like hipfire and movement speed, but again, this is built more for mid-range sniper support. Surprisingly, you can still put remove stock on there and have great recoil. So this gives you a benefit to movement speed, sprint to fire speed, and hip fire, which again is something you always want. Underbarrel, I really like the hand stop because it doesn't hurt your ADS time at all. It helps with recoil and helps with your accuracy. Again, accuracy doesn't do anything anymore. But recoil control is what we're looking for in this. We want this to be absolutely a laser, and that's what you get with this build. Again, same logic here for the 8mm Nambu. This gives you really good fire rate and no recoil, and still ridiculous TTKs. I'm actually going to recommend lengthened over Incendiary or Hollow Point because of the bullet velocity benefit. I think a lot of the hit reg issues people are having is because the Vanguard weapons have extremely low bullet velocity compared to what we were used to, like in the 250 meters per second range, compared to the old meta SMGs like the OTS had like 700 plus meters per second. So what that does is makes it so your bullets are not, you know, it takes time for your bullet to get to the target. So anytime they move at all, your bullets are missing, and it feels like they should be hitting because you were used to higher bullet velocity. So I think lengthened is just a good option. Paired with this barrel is going to give you what feels like much better hit reg than other weapons. And then I like to pair the stippled grip, which gives you initial firing recoil, with tight grip, because tight grip gives you sustained firing recoil. So this basically means that everywhere you have no recoil, combined with the barrel and the muzzle and the underbarrel and the magazine, all of this gives this no recoil whatsoever. Good bullet velocity. We use quick perk. This is the only perk that really makes sense in perk 2 slot. So you have really good movement, insane TTKs up close, really good recoil for mid-range engagements, good bullet velocity for mid-range engagements. It's just overall massively overpowered. This is going to get nerfed. I don't know if this was on purpose. It had to be a mistake. In my opinion, had to be a mistake. Like, there's no way this was meant to be buffed like this, because this is probably the most overpowered gun ever in Warzone, except maybe the FR556 one-shot shotgun from back in the day. Mac 10 that had the blueprint that had insane TTKs for a while, that was also busted, but I think this is definitely up there with the most busted guns ever. So definitely get this leveled up and take advantage of it while you can. All right, everybody, that's all I wanted to cover in this video. Just wanted to confirm all the PPSh changes. I don't know why this happened. I don't know if it was a mistake. I don't know if it was a silent buff. But it's really interesting to me that we kind of learn about these things through the community, because all these pros and good players were talking about how good the PPSh was all of a sudden. And like I said earlier in the video, I assumed that they just kind of, you know, were starting to discover it because other things had been nerfed. and it had always been pretty good, but all of a sudden now it's insane, and I don't know why that is. But either way, appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more in-depth Call of Duty content, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.